So you've done your research on your person, and here is my person, Georgia O'Keeffe. She is famous for these artworks, but particularly doing the skulls and living in the desert. She's a very, very strong woman, and she lived until she was 98. From that, so I googled quotes from Georgia O'Keeffe, and I chose two that I really, really liked. I pulled out key things that I thought were interesting, like her struggles with depression and anxiety. She won the Medal of Freedom in 1985. I also was thinking, what else could I include? Because remember, you can include photos in the background, you can include a map. So what I was thinking is maybe I could pull the skulls out from her art, like these. She was very well known for her bones. Look at all her bone paintings here. So I was thinking I could do a collage with the bone paintings, and then I could do my lino printing on top. I also really like the idea of using the desert in itself. There's some particular ones that she painted all the time. She's also really famous for her flower paintings. So I could actually paint some of her flower paintings onto acetate and put it on top of my lino print of her. So there's lots of different things. So when I say to jot down key things, it really is just one or two quotes, maybe words to describe your person, and what kind of images if you were to make a collage or painting out of them. I put down, in case I was going to include a map, New Mexico was very important to her. She was born in Wisconsin. So I've written down some very key things here. Well, what if I did, in Skill Builder 3, there's a watercolor one that has all these lines that move around. You'll see it when you play the video. So I thought, well, what if I did that style and painted the desert on watercolor paper? And then I did a lino print of her appearing behind. When you are doing concepts, they are small. See, they're about just a little bigger than 3 fingers. So they're very small, they're very rough. And you write notes because my drawing is not easy to see what it is. But I know I want to include quote, so I write the word quote. I was thinking here desert or skull painting. Okay, I was thinking I could put acetate on top of this with the quotes and some of her flower paintings. So I could add colors just to show, just to make it a little easier to see that this is going to be a layer on top with her flower paintings and the quote. That's going to be on plastic. This is going to be lino carving, and this is going to be that beautiful watercolor painting that everything comes together on. Then I was thinking, well, what if I focused on her skull art? So I'm going to do the watercolor and oil pastel technique that's in Skill Builder 3. That's the 3rd video. And I could do that really beautiful line drawing in watercolor, but with the skull, like the bones and the desert. And then I could add quotes on, like we did when we labeled our expressionist portraits. I could use old book pages and stick on some quotes or keywords to describe her. And then I was like, well, I could do the acetate painting. So this is all painted in. Again, you can use color just so you can see that she is separate. She's a different layer. She would be on acetate, painted, stuck on top, but only half. So you would cut out the plastic here and just stick her on here. And then all of this would be painting and quotes. So this is how working in layers is going to be super fun. There's so many things you can do. Then I was thinking, taking this idea of half a face, what if I kept that half a face, but I had her face, because she was very, very reflective and very strong. So I want to show that in my artwork. So what if I had 2 halves going off the edge like this, which would be on acetate. And then this part here, notice how I just did these crazy ovals and just showed that it's a face. But this, I wrote the words instead, lino, small. So that means instead of doing a big lino print, which is this size, I'm thinking I could do a small one and have a section of her face. And then, like we did in our practice. And then I could repeat it to create this grid. I could work out my color scheme. So for this one, I'm thinking black and white. For the lino, And then here is going to be color because it's going to sit on top in acetate. And then behind here, I thought it'd be really beautiful to do the desert sketch. But in the mono printing techniques, using either the oil pastel and watercolor or the ink one where you rolled the ink on the tray and sketched on top, so that way your lines could be really detailed and have a beautiful sketch in here. But once I did this grid, then I was thinking, oh, I could actually do a grid because it's very easy to print multiple times. That's where printmaking is really awesome. And then I thought, well, I could print, but I could print and do desert colors. So I could really capture the yellows of the sun going up to the blue sky in my printmaking. This is the lino part. And then I could have the oranges going into the reds, which you will see when you look at her art. So when you're looking at your person, you want to pull things out that connect to your person. This is what we're communicating about. So this would actually be her face. That would be lino carved out. I haven't decided what angle I want yet. And then I repeat it. But when I print it in oranges, reds, and yellows. Maybe a bit of blue at the top, which would be gorgeous. And then what I thought is I could stick the acetate behind. So this would all be attached on card. Then this would be a cutout and this would be see-through. And I'd paint areas of her face, but I'd keep some areas clear. So I just draw in the marker. So some parts are painted. And then behind her face, what did I want to show? Well, the desert and the bones were so important to her. So I could have a map of that area. I could go onto Google Earth and find a more realistic view. Or I actually put here acetate a photo of the desert. So I could find a really nice photo of the desert that I print out, stick it behind. She sits on top. Again, I could add her quotes, but this is getting a little busy now. So I was thinking for her quotes, maybe I could add a little frame down here and here where I type, and this is words. So this is what concepts is like. This is what I'm expecting, is that you're starting to figure out, you're labeling what it is that you're wanting to do. Acetate, quotes. Maybe you want to draw or paint something in the background that connects to your person. Maybe you want to make a collage digitally, print it out and stick it behind. There's so many awesome options with these techniques. I haven't even brought in wire. I could totally make some wire flowers hang over the top because she had her flower art. So imagine if it had these really cool giant flowers over the top. That would be gorgeous. So these are my ideas, and now I need to start thinking, all right, well, what do I really, really want to do? And I actually really like the idea of these desert colors, the lino printing, and I actually really like the wire. But I like the idea of her face. So now I'm going to pull my favorites out of this and make a final one right here. So now it's time to choose what I want to do. So that way I know where to start next class.